The Zonta International is a non-governmental organization of the United Nations, which I think is very impressive. Zonta International has a presence at the UN through this council, which includes 2/3 of the UN programs, and they have a presence at all of the major UN throughout the world. Zonta has a presence with the UN, which is pretty awesome. There has been things, like one year I went to a World Health Organization meeting at the UN, as you know, that I found out about it at a conference, and they invited everybody that was there if you wanted to go to this event, and they rolled out this big report on health status of women and children throughout the entire world, and everybody stuff. So there's some certain days that we pay attention to. One is Orange Day, which was started in 2012. It's like every month on the 25th they celebrate Orange Day, and they ask you to wear orange, and it's really to support violence against women. And Just Say No, we have that big Just Say No campaign and every year in November, 16 days of advocacy, and so it starts on November 25th, which is the International Day against violence against women, and it ends December 10th, which is International Human Rights Days. And so it kind of bridges violence against women and human rights, and kind of shows that violence against women is a human rights issue. And so we started with the International Day of the Family. I think about 12 years ago, we decided, let's do something for the International Day of the Family as our UN event. And so we started with an essay or art contest for children in Mercer County, asked them to contribute an essay or an artwork, and then we have a contest, and we bring the families together. We started partnering. We reached out to the Commission on the Status of Women in Mercer County, and we've developed a very good relationship with them because of that. And so through our work with them, they provide the dinner, we provide little $25 gift cards to Barnes & Nobles for the winners, and we usually have about between 13 and 20 recipients getting the $25 gift cards, and they all come with their family members, and so it's very exciting. It's probably the first time many have gotten recognized. And we reach out to all the different schools. We don't get that much participation from some schools, or none from some schools, and then others we do, but we make a point to make sure that if a school submitted, at least one child from that school that submits will be selected as a winner. So we'll go above and beyond what we've typically.
Hello, Mindy May, Faith Osborne, and Cookie Cox. And there are some of our new members, and there's probably about another 6 or 8 that we have.
I've been, well, I was a court reporter for 30 years, and being a mother, and having our business. My husband started an oil business. We started ourselves. But I was in a way, Denise put something on Facebook like a year ago, way before, and I said, oh, what is that? I never heard of Zonta, but I like helping people and doing something for the community service. And I don't know, even when I was a kid, I always was in different clubs in school, so I always wanted to be part of something. I don't know, but just the way I always have been. I don't know. I
used to belong to an organization, Business and Professional Women, which I think sort of never quite figured out its mission. It was supposed to support working women, which it did, but its foundation, which still remains, still does in terms of legislation. But after they kind of went by the wayside, I was looking for some place to do more, stay involved with service.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. I'm a marketing manager for a food service manufacturing company. I've been there about 10 years, going on 10 years. Graphic designer, educated, and Denise is my sister.
She's my sister.
I was coming to some of the meetings with her along the way. She wanted me to become a
She
member.
wrote you.
Huh? She wrote me in.
Yeah.
She wrote me in.
We're calling it recruit.
And I retired from Mercer County Board of Social Services, where I worked for 38 years. And I really, 29 was in the fraud department. But the last couple of years I was in, I worked with a case manager. I was a case manager. I worked with the really difficult people who really needed extra help. And I really enjoyed that. That's why I want to be involved. I like to work, and these were mostly women I dealt with. I like that. I like to be involved with that. I can remember years ago in the 80s, I was really involved with the Hamilton JCs when they first started women. And I was their first president. We're going way back. But then I had got married and had the kids and did all that. But right now, I really I do a lot of traveling, and I just want to spend my time giving back to what I can do.
Just a little background on her. She joined the Zonta Club in 1949 and belonged to the club until her death. She was a graduate of Columbia Teachers College, which is NYC now. She was a resident of Trenton. She went back to school to get a better job. She died in 1983, so no children, no record of marriage, but we don't know too much more about that. But she was a teacher in the Trenton area in the newspaper and publishing business, and was part of the Brenninger family publishing business. So the Zonta Club of Trenton received a bequest from her estate in the amount of $20,000. In 1983, the Club Foundation Committee presented a resolution to the board, and the fund was the Grace M. Brenninger Memorial Fund for the Zonta Club of Trenton. So that was the one that Mary was talking about earlier, that they didn't give it out for a couple years. So then they gave out the $10,000.
That year we gave out 10.
It's certainly not true. And one of the great things I feel about Zonta personally is from the international aspect, because if you look at such organizations as now, they're just purely a domestic organization. It's just purely in the United States. They could claim that they have 500,000 members, but and I'm not saying we don't need those types of advocacy organizations, but it's more about the bigger me, and the neat thing about Zonta is just it's about my neighbor, is my neighbor surviving, and that type of thing. And I think domestic violence is a big part of that. I think currently we have just about 8 members on our service committee. One of the things, I think one of my goals is I really want to be able to truly partner with more nonprofit organizations. Some of the things that we tend to do is we do give nonprofit organizations funds, and they love that because obviously they need that. If some way we get even more strongly involved with those organizations, that would be a good thing by way of the service capacity. It seems, and what I've been told, I really haven't gotten started with, that many of these service organizations are sort of so self-sufficient that they sort of don't need that outside help. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but I believe every organization needs some type of help, and they just may not be aware because they came back. But it's the idea is with these organizations, when they do ask for things, even if they're not particularly within our mission, we don't want to say what we can't do. We want to tell them what we can do, and how we can help. And so when something like that comes up, it's not like I want to turn off an organization, say, oh, not within our mission, you don't count. It's just the idea to say, yeah, how can we help? This is what we do, and see how we could, because, the need is really great out there. I mean, in
The first thing that we're gonna adjust is that we're in our 86th year. We were founded in 1931, and our club actually fits into the organizational structure of Zonta International, which, as you've heard before, will be celebrating its 100th anniversary in 1919. It was founded by a group of women in Buffalo, New York, who had been refused admission to Kiwanis, right? It was Kiwanis, yeah. Sometimes I think Rotary, but, and so they said, well, we'll form our own. It was before we got the right to vote as women. So, I mean, it's relatively historic, but it was happening in a period of history where there was a great deal of movement on the part of women for women. And, I mean, the mission was to improve the status of women through education, economic and political empowerment, literacy, well, I said literacy, health, and legal and economic. So empowering women to be self-sufficient, empowering women to be able to vote, empowering women to be able to be educated, that type of thing. So when you think back on our history, a lot has happened in that 100 years, or 98 years right now. We were formed anywhere in the world, and likely find a Zonta club. So you can continue your commitment if you move to another place, if you retire and go to Florida, whatever. And there's always that continuity, and I think one of our members, Linda Foster, has always talked about that, because she was in North Carolina, right, president down there, and then when her company relocated her up here, she found our club and joined, and so she likes that, again, that continuity, which I think is, very appealing. We do have some 30,000 members, 1,200 clubs in 67 countries. I think you do, so we started out as the Zonta Club of Trenton. About 6 or 7 years ago, we changed the name to incorporate Mercer, because we do go out through the entire county. We focus on Mercer County, even though we originally founded as Trenton. We have some interesting history. One of the early members of the Zonta Club was Amelia Earhart. So when Mary Signoretta talked about the Amelia Earhart Foundation, because we pay dues, and we're basically tithing to the international organization. Part of our dues goes to international, part goes to district, and then a very small amount of those dues, your annual dues, go to us. Yeah. And they have an Amelia Earhart Foundation to promote education of young women in the sciences and the aeronautical, space engineering fields. They've got a Rose Foundation fund. They have specific funds for a number of different activities that we, ultimately support as the local clubs going up. Which will bring me later to fundraising, because that is an issue for us, but I won't go into it right now. Just a couple of things. On that particular piece of paper that you have, this is a list. It's not a comprehensive list, but it is a list of organizations that we have donated monies to. Vince talked about the $275,000 to $300,000 that we've donated to local nonprofits. And these are some of those organizations. And that's only since we've been keeping track.
Which is from the inception
Which
of the
was
Gourmet Garden. That was just all Gourmet Garden.
Right, so it's like 13 years. We don't have a record of what might have been done before that. But I do know things like what Judy put in the newsletter. During the Depression era, people like Alba was the one who told me, actually, but Alba and Elsie said that we collected money as a club, as a group, to give for a milk fund for babies of women who had dependent children and were not able to feed them. So, I mean, there were things that have been done throughout the club's history sort of to fit into whatever the needs of the time are. And, what you were saying about evolving, it evolved over, yeah.
They also started
We started the VNA,
We were
the
the
Visiting
founder of
Nurse
the Visiting Nurses
Association
Association.
in Mercer County, and we supported them until
A walk called the Rave Walk, which was to fight against, it was actually for training programs, domestic violence training programs, that were run by Women's Space. We stopped doing it after the 11th year. We don't want to make anyone think that the focus is financial. It really is service. The heart and soul of this club is service. the financial benefit, I think as Vince said, is it's nice if $500 will make a difference in a small nonprofit, which it does. So we really shy away from big nonprofits. We're really trying to do local, on the ground, in the county. You know, a couple hundred or a couple $1,000 makes a huge difference. So we ask each of the organizations that we grant money to tell us, I mean, how many children, how many women, what exactly do you want this money for, and then report back and let us know what it was used for. So that, you know, those are, but you'll see, an important thing that we do that Denise is going to talk about is scholarships. We're very, very, very supportive of scholarships, whether it's at the high school level. So we have a young woman in public affairs leadership. We have the Grace Browninger Scholarship Award for a woman 25 and over who is going back to school. It could be, you know, business, it could be liberal arts, it could be nursing, whatever. We support the Jane Klausman Award, which is an international award.